Okay, so it's winter here at the cemetery in Denmark, and we just started to decorate for Christmas. So all the stones, most of the stones, we have around 500 that needs to be decorated for Christmas. And we use these different kind of pine, this more really vibrant green one we're gonna use. It's called Nordmannsgran. And we have a Cypress, also a really beautiful color. And over here we have that one that's more like a bluish shade. So we use these and also other things from the cemetery like flowers and stuff like that. We use to add some really pop of color. So I'm going to show you the easy way how we do. It's pretty simple actually. So let's get started. So we actually use very simple things when we do the decoration. Here, for example, I'm going to show you the bottom, just a brick with a bunch of holes in. And we're just gonna stick all the, fix all the holes there with different pines and some beautiful foliage here and some flower. And it's not only for cemetery you could use, you could also do it for your garden. And because it's getting really cold, it's gonna last until early spring here in Denmark. So it adds a lot of color at the cemetery. There's also like, more like this is almost what we call like a nest. Really beautiful. You mix it around like that, use different foliage, and it's on a plate, so it's really easy also for the whole body. It's a good way to do these decorations. You get away from using your knees. In the old days, just actually 5 years ago, they started doing it inside in the shed here, heated, music in the background. Instead of in the old days, you were on your knees, out on eats. Imagine doing 500 one by one, sitting out there in the rain and the snow. So it's really good. We can prepare it inside, and also like this one here, a really great border. We have these trays. You just lift it and then it's gonna slide nicely down on the ground. Okay, let's go. So we're using these kind of trays, I would call it, plastic. In that way, it's easier once we come out to the spot we are decorating for, then we can easily just slide it down. We just like kind of hold it up and imagine there's no wire or anything. The pine is laid here, but then you slide it down, and then it's an easy way you pre-make it. But for example, it's not only cemetery you could use it for. You could easily do it for like a Christmas, your Christmas table. And I also would say you could pre-make it and then put it outside even a few days before your party, because then it's nice and cool, and it will be like really greener when you leave it outside before you imagine it, taking it inside in the heat. So in that way you could pre-make it a few days before your party or your gathering, and then you can easily just place it out or put it under something else. Yeah. So now I'm just gonna cut like the tips. You really wanna have the bottom ones you can really make long here like this. Just snip them off. There we go. And then you're actually just gonna start to layer the bottom here. And you kind of like do a little here in the bottom, a little bit like zigzagging. And that's gonna, there's no need for wire or anything. Just like that. Put those down. There we go. I'm going to show you there. And then you start to take some of the kind of like the smaller tips out, the prettier ones. Really want to do the nice smaller pieces here. Almost looks a little bit like a fork. And then you start to layer them almost like a roof. Like you place them down on top of each other. I'm going to show you here. And then you start to layer them so they kind of cover each other. So the next one kind of covers over the next. You don't want to see all this bare stem here like this. So you kind of, in that way, if it's windy outside or if you do it inside, it's of course nice. But then there's, it kind of like woven in here like that, cross over, and then it's like, there we go. Some kind of the bottom ones here again, I'm showing you. You're gonna lay them like you're crossing them a little bit. And then you start to almost like when you make a basket, you make sure you have some that comes under So it kind of, because that makes it really nice and tight, almost like a really fit. So you kind of start to cross them under, just like that. So make sure go under here again, because then it's really like a basket almost. Yeah, like you cross it like that. There we go. So I'm actually adding around 3 layers of the pine, and then you can also, this is only one of the, this is the green one, the Normannsgran, but then you can do whatever imagination you want to do. You can put some lighter greens on, you can add some of the, these are called lauerbeer, you can stick them in there, or if you have some dried hydrangea or some pine cones, you can really add that into your border and really make it your own. Like it's only, yeah, you can use your imagination, use whatever you have in the garden, anything you think can be cute, or if your kids made some mushrooms out of clay, you can add that in as well. So it really gets really personalized, these borders here. And what's funny is we started with the end. So when we slide it out, I'm just going to show you like this. So when you slide it out, it's the end. You always want to have the pine showing kind of away from you, because then at the end here, you can also cover that with a beautiful flower so you don't see the tip of these pines. You don't want to see that. Even if you do it at the cemetery, or if you do it for your table decorations, it's quite easy. You can make it almost like a snake form or straight, whatever shape you want to have it. So I'm just going to show you, we just do like this, and then we just kind of slowly slide it down. I'm just trying to make a straight one, just like that. And then here, it's important at the end here, if you want to kind of cover this, you can then, the tips here, you can take some other tips and then kind of like hide the other ends here with some other pine. You can even do a bow or use some, put a dry hydrangea here at the end here, so that really covers, so almost looks like a, yeah, almost like a shooting star, like it has a tip here and then it kind of has the tail, you can say that as well. So if there's any pines you can see, tuck some cute little ones here at the end, so you kind of cover any showing the tips of the pines here. There we go. So here's another one we just finished, just adding the last few things, and really nice to have a few pops of color, but you also kind of like, you need to know when you stop. You can also over decorate. So kind of maybe leave it for a little bit and see, okay, maybe now it's enough. And this tray here is a little bit wider, but again, about this weaving where you put the different pines in together. So because that's the structure, you have no, we don't use any wiring or anything. It's only the branches that keep the structure together of this centerpiece. And these have to stand in rain and wind and snow, maybe a bird coming to pick at it. It has to really be a strong fit for the decoration out on the cemetery out there. So this is just finished. We're gonna lay that out when we finish with the last few things here. So you wouldn't think that underneath this decoration is just a stone, but there's actually just a brick you build houses with, and they have these really amazing holes, and we're just going to use those for at our template. You can use anything actually, something also to give some height. So what we first do, we take these that has these pines, the long ones. It's going to be at the far back actually. I'm just going to do it behind here. Normally it's the other way, but then you kind of just play around with the height. What you want to make sure of, that the next one here doesn't come up here like this. You want to have it almost like going down a small hill. Imagine that. So this is going to be the front. So you want to have the next one here. You can kind of play with all the holes, but you want a height that goes slowly down, and you can play with other materials. Like later on, I'm going to add a little bit, not this big one here, but then you can add some more here for later. I'm just going to show one example here, but then later on, like over here, you kind of add some pop of color, some flower decorations here again, different foliage as shown over here. So you kind of just play with it, tuck it in, and also if it's for a centerpiece for your border here for Christmas, make sure this is the back. We always cover, we don't want to see any of the stone. So imagine if you have your grandmother on one side, there needs to be something that she can look for. Because this is the visitors on the cemetery, they will come and see it for one view. We will put it at a small fence. So this is what visitors will see, the family. You don't really see it, but you still want to cover. You don't want to have a cold brown brick showing in the back. So make sure really tuck it in. And then again, you can just add really pops of different foliage that really gives a nice, beautiful color to the whole decoration. They're really a centerpiece. And these bricks are great because they give a lot of height for your decoration. Okay, so we're going to put it out here for the next few days until we made some more. Really, they really love to be out in the cold. So imagine you don't finish, don't stress about it. You can use a few days, but do keep it outside wherever you have space. If it's going to rain or snow, you can leave it a little covered in a shed. But they really stay really nice and fresh out in the cool areas. So we're just going to show you, now we're just going to clean up, and then we're going to show you some of the really pretty ones we did out at the cemetery already. It's weekend and we've gone for a little walk to the church grounds. And we just quickly want to show you some of the decorations we did with the pines. And one of these ones, now I've done quite a lot actually. And one of these ones is almost like a snake, like a river here. We used different kind of pines, like a really nice warm green and a blue one, a nobilis here, and then we use these flowers that grows on our church grounds. They're called the skimia, just to really give a pop of color. And as you can see, then we've done further in there some more things. So as we talked about earlier, we use a lot of these Cypress also to give this really pop of color here, and it's made on a brick again with holes in. So each ground has one of these bricks decorated with different kind of colors, and again we use also what we do have on the church grounds for decoration. Some of them are smaller and some are bigger grounds here. Here we made a nice heart, and in Denmark we use hearts a lot for Christmas. And at this really huge heart here, we made it inside first on a big plate, and then afterwards we can come in and add a little bit more, so it really gets a good, nice heart-shaped form. Because with this you can always play around, add some more, go again then and use of the things we have at the church ground here, add that in to really give a pop of color. And also if you can again transfer these, for example a heart or like the bricks we use, if you have your in your own garden, if you have cut back some of your perennials, you could easily decorate with pines or table decorations inside for Christmas, really to give that wow fact, like a showstopper for your table. So here we used again a brick to add in. First we add a lot of the green first as the background, and then we slowly add on. And here again we make sure that we start the highest point here and then gradually go down, and then there's kind of like a middle to the brick here. So it's really it gets a great volume, and then later on you can go back and see, okay, where do I need to add a little bit of color, both with the nobilis color, but also the second color, Christian, here is really something we use a lot. Super spiky, but very decorative. And because it's really cold in Denmark for winter, it will stay really green for a very long time, all over winter, so people can really enjoy these decorations. And you can, again, use it at home, make it before Christmas, and then just add it on the table. So we almost done. We have a few more weeks to go, and then we will have done 500 different decorations. So we're super busy, and then we will also go to another church ground to help a colleague. We are all in all 9 places, so we're super busy to get all these ready for Christmas. So here in these decorations, when we really make sure we have long pieces of pine, so wind and animals don't destroy it. So we really start adding really big pieces, really tuck them in there. So it's really like because we don't use any wire or anything. So they really, when you make a basket, you really tie them in there. So they really stick nice and tight. For example, here we used, if you would want to do it in your a garden here, it's a simple place. This bush is always here, so you could easily run around like a little flower bed like that, using very simple, just 2 materials, 2 kind of pines, run it through, and then you could add a little bit more decoration if you wanted, but less is sometimes better. But it's really nice how it just, and then again we make it run the same way, really tuck the different pines in there. You don't want to see any kind of stems, so it's really nice. You just lay it down and then you can go back and add a little bit more. So here is an example of quite a simple one, but really has quite a big of a effect, how it just runs all the way around. So here there's a small heart shape where we again just use 2 kind of pines, the Normannsgran and the Nobilis, the blue one, and it really doesn't need any more because it has such a great look to it, really simple, but really like, and over here again, just really make it into like almost like a ribbon is like a star, some would say, and make it sure that they like cross over here the pine here, and it's only those 2, but it's just really simple and really beautiful, I think. So it's freezing now, so we will head back. We have some pines at home, and we took out from the flower boxes in the front of our window. We took out the summer flowers there, and we're gonna add some pop of color by using the evergreen, the pines there, and some of the other decorations. So we have to go home and do that. So let's go. So I started to decorate the baskets outside the flower boxes. And for that, I'm going to use this evergreen, it's called Normannsgran, really beautiful color. And I'm going to weave it in here on, I just use a cardboard as a template or table here. And then I can slide it easily afterwards. So really the bigger ones, the bigger pieces of pine I put down, and then I weave the smaller ones on the top. Just like that. And then I'm going to use later on, I'm going to use some skimia here as beautiful, also just to cover it in here. I don't use, notice I don't use any wire or anything. So it's just going to use all the natural material to weave in with each other. And also this beautiful color, the Christian here, look at that. Wow. So really when now I'm almost done with this, so the end pieces here, I really like when I, almost like roofing, you don't want to see any ends, and then you kind of add them in there, lay it in with each other, just like that. So I just finished with a green pine here, and I'm gonna just do a pop of color here with the skimia, and also with the Christian here, the double color here, and then it's almost finished. So I just slid it off the board here and just added it in here. And if there's a little bit adjusting to do, you add a bit more pines on the side if there's any missing gaps here. And then just adjust a little bit with some more decoration on the top. And here we go. Okay, so this one is finished and then I have 3 more to go. Time for a little break before we get back to work. Right?
Yeah.
And I've earned a marshmallow too, so
Okay.
I'll be sure to get myself one.